Hey friends, welcome back. I am Jason and I have attempted to build a survival kit for $100 or less. And what I have discovered is that it is very difficult to check all the boxes with quality gear for under $100 total. It's really challenging, and most of your prefabbed kits that you're going to see online on Amazon or whatever it is, most of those prefabbed kits are going to be filled full of maybe some decent stuff, but then a lot of junk stuff as well, just to create filler and make it seem like you're getting a better value for the $100 or whatever it is that you're spending on it. So what I've done is I've done my best to spend right at $100 on actually quality pieces of kit. Several of these items I have actually used in real life experiences, and I can stand behind them and say that they are quality and they will get the job done. A few of them I haven't, and I'm just going off the best guess and what it looks like and the quality that it looks like and the descriptions. I try not to choose anything on this list that doesn't have at least 4.5 stars out of lots of reviews, 1,000+ reviews. I would say what I've compiled here is the absolute minimum. It would be nice to have a lot more. It'd be nice to have higher quality items, but again, for $100, you're gonna get what you pay for. And this is the absolute best that I could come up with, so let's go through it. First is an 11x9 tarp from Wise Owl. Comes with the cordage and it comes with stakes. That's a big one. The cordage bought separately costs additional money, so this tarp comes with some cordage. I think it comes with 40 total feet. That's 10 feet on each corner of our tarp. And an 11x9 tarp is really big. You could fit quite a few people under an 11x9 tarp, as long as you have some experience on how to set them up and assemble them and rig them up with ridge lines and all that stuff to make sure that they can hold up in inclement weather. So an 11x9 tarp from Wise Owl, that was first on our list, some sort of good quality shelter. Next is something to lay on, right? Laying on the cold, wet ground is, generally speaking, a very bad idea. While you can construct some sort of natural bedding out of leafy boughs and pine boughs and all that stuff, it takes time, it takes energy, and let's say you've got some sort of injury or something like that that keeps you from being able to do it. Having something to lay on, such as a yoga mat, which is the cheapest kind of mat sleeping pad that I could find, a yoga mat would be really helpful. Although they are very thin, it still beats laying on the cold, wet ground. It'll at least keep you drier, and that's a huge deal. That's a big difference. And if you were to make some sort of natural bedding, you could put this yoga mat on top of it and make yourself even more comfortable. And that's pretty much the extent of what we could afford for our shelter. It would have been nice to have a sleeping bag. I looked at fleece sleeping bag liners, which were fairly inexpensive, somewhere around the $15, $20 range. But again, that put us over the budget. Having something to sleep in, getting yourself wrapped up in some sort of blanket or something like that, even if it's a cheap Mylar blanket, is a whole lot better than nothing. You could potentially throw in some sort of cheap poncho, like a frog tog poncho, as an additional shelter, which would help keep you dry and warm. Again, extra expense. Frog togs aren't bad. That's about as cheap as you could possibly get, in my opinion, as far as a quality poncho. Frog togs will work. They're a little bit fragile. If you walk through briars and stuff like that, they're going to get tears and things in them, but they will get the job done. So moving on to fire. Fire is going to be the next element of our shelter. That's part of shelter, in my opinion. Bic Lighters, it's hard to beat Bic Lighters. For $10.35, you can get 8 Bic Lighters. And if you can't get a fire started with 8 Bic Lighters, there's something wrong. Bic Lighters, generally speaking, always work. I've never had one fail completely unless I did it on purpose for some reason. So they always get the job done for me. With 8 Bic Lighters, chances are one of those is going to get the job done for you, even if you're holding it under wet kindling or tinder or whatever for a long time until it runs out of fuel. Eventually you'll get to dry that out, and if you run out of one lighter, you use another one. Whatever it is, you can scrape the plastic off of one of the Bic Lighters and use that as a tinder source. Bic Lighters are hard to beat, and for $10.35, 8 of them, that's something I would trust my life with. 8 Bic Lighters. It would be nice to have some sort of fire starters, additional flame extenders, like, tinder tabs and all that kind of stuff, but additional expenses, and we couldn't fit that in the $100 budget. Let's move on to water. Water is crucial. A day without water and you're going to be pretty dang miserable. So finding a clean source of water is going to be a big one, and having a way to purify it in some way is going to be really important. We looked at water filters. The best one, the one that I really like, and I would stand behind it, and it's cheap, is a Sawyer Mini, but it just put us right over our $100 mark. So, and I also want some sort of stainless steel container so I can boil my water. And what I went with, and actually it's my favorite metal container is a Stanley cook pot, and it was $17.16. So for $17.16, you have a solid cook pot that's going to last you a lifetime with a metal lid that helps keep debris and stuff out of there. It helps actually make the water boil faster. So you can start your fire with your Bic Lighters. You can stick that Stanley cook pot in the fire and get yourself some clean water to drink after it comes to a rolling boil. It would be nice to have a water bottle as well so you can transport the water and carry it. The Stanley cook pot, I guess you could, but you're probably going to end up spilling it because it's not a water bottle. But it's difficult without some sort of tool to get just boiling water in a water bottle on a fire is a little bit difficult and slightly precarious, a little bit dangerous if you don't know what you're doing and you're not paying attention. There's lots of different techniques of going about this, but if you're limited to this $100 list or you don't have some sort of pliers or multi-tool or whatever, yes, there's different ways to toggle things in there, but it's still, if you don't know what you're doing, it's a little bit risky and you can end up spilling all your water, putting your fire out, or hurting yourself. So I chose the Stanley cook pot because it's got a nice handle. It's easy to get in and out of the fire. Let's talk about tools. It'd be great to have all kinds of different tools, like a multi-tool, but they're fairly expensive, and the cheap ones, in my opinion, are not really worth having. They suck. Any cheap multi-tool that you see out there is usually garbage, and the ones that they throw into all these fabricated prefab survival kits are usually trash. So I wouldn't recommend those. I would just go with a simple knife, something that you can trust, something you can count on, that's not going to break, it won't fail you. It's got a good keen edge on it, made of a good quality steel, and the Moras are really hard to beat. The Mora Craft line has a 3.6-inch blade. You can get them in stainless, you can get them carbon. The stainless steel one is fine. I mean, because we're not going to be, if we're honest and we're living in reality, we're not going to be striking sparks off the back of our knife to do a flint and steel fire. It's just, you're going to use your Bic Lighters because that's what you got. We're probably not going to be in a situation where we need to do flint and steel. Yes, I know, what if, I get it. But a Mora Craft line with a 3.5-inch blade is going to be a solid knife, and it will, I've trusted the Moras for a lot of years. They are really inexpensive, $13.71 that can be had. It comes with a good sheath. I shouldn't say good. It comes with a decent sheath that gets the job done. So a Mora Craft line is what I would go for my one tool right there, so I could cut my cordage, feather my sticks to help me start my fire, whatever I need to do. Now that pretty much consumes most of our money, and all we had left was about a little less than 20 bucks to carry. You have to buy something to carry all of our gear in, some sort of pack. The best pack I could find for that price tag were the ratings. I've never used this one, but just looking at the ratings, the Everest luggage backpack looks like a decent one, probably get the job done. Probably not going to last you years and years of use, but if it's just something that you're keeping in the back of your car, in your trunk or something like that, and you just got to use it from time to time, and just kind of a way to, corral all of your gear and keep it in one place and allow you to transport from one place to another. For $18.49, the Everest luggage backpack seems like the way to go. If I tally it up, it comes to around $100.65, so right at $100. And that's pretty much the best I could do. $100.65 for decent gear that you could count on. There's lots of additional things you could throw in there, but and like I said before, you can buy one of those prefab kits that you might be able to get less than $100, but it's probably going to be filled with just a bunch of fluff and a bunch of crap that you're never going to use, for one, and if you did use it, it's probably going to fail you in your time of need. So that's just my opinion. There might be something good out there. There might be something decent worth looking into. But in my experience, that's been the case. There's a lot of survival kits out there that are really good, but they're very expensive. Hundreds of dollars for quality survival kits. And people look at those and they say, oh, that's expensive. I could build that for less. Maybe you could, but most likely you can't. And by the time you end up buying all these things and trying them out and realizing that they suck, and then having to go buy something else, you will have spent way more than what that big price tag is for that survival kit in the first place. So that's just my 2 cents. Good luck trying to find a good quality kit for $100, but I think if you stuck with a list kind of like this one, it would check the minimum bases right there, the absolute minimum, to get you sheltered from the elements, get yourself some sort of fire. You got something to sleep on that's going to keep you semi-dry. You can collect yourself some water, and you could possibly see yourself through the short term. Long-term survival, going to be a little bit more difficult. There's no food on this list. We didn't have room for that in our budget, so food is going to be something that's going to be you're going to have to do without for the short term. But anyway, I really appreciate this, guys. Make sure you're leaving lots of comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you would have added on this list if you go on your shopping list in the Amazon, your Amazon cart. See what you'd put in there and see if you could build a better kit for $100. Maybe you can. I'm sure you can. But let me know that in the comments. Really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.